You walk into a casino, you see slots, poker, blackjack, but more and more people are going to bet on sports. A polarizing topic in many different ways, the first real sport that was betted on and is still fuming today is horse racing, starting back in the late 19th century. Then came the 1919 Black Sox scandal, but one of the biggest moves was in 1949, Nevada legalized sports betting. Now to this day, federal sports betting is still up for debate.
The Supreme Court back in 2018, I think, had a case where they ruled 6-3 to strike down the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, which bars state authorized gambling. So they said in that case that they're not going to mandate it federally because the Congress has the power to mandate or control, regulate any sports betting, but they chose not to. So they said that it's a state by state basis to choose whether or not they want to allow sports gambling or not.
With sports betting being a state-by-state basis, certain states have it fully illegal, like Utah. While places here in Connecticut and in Mohegan Sun in their own sports book, sports gambling has been legal since May of 2021 and got started in October of that same year. Meanwhile, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, you can legally gamble anytime, anywhere, as long as you're above the legal age, and especially on the apps provided. Even with it being more legal across more states, there's still a lot of illegal sports gambling going on across the country.
The American Gaming Association has pretty much said over the past 10 years that 20% of adults in the U.S. bet on sports. So whether that is, within company pools, things of that nature, how many people are wagering, in the, offshore illegal markets. There were numbers back in 2017 before New Jersey actually passed the first law, anywhere from 250 million to 400 million in handle was being done illegally offshore. I should say billion.
Another issue that has recently been brought to light are ethical concerns within the sports media industry and if sports reporters should do it. Journalists having insight or early access information that the general public doesn't have on teams and players is just one of the problems.
I mean, a little bit, I guess there is a little bit of an ethical dilemma. I don't feel any ethical dilemma if I have inside information. I'm generally speaking going to be betting it and figuring out from there on. But I do think that I don't know. I think at the end of the day, every single media person and every single content person is going to end up working for a sports book or indirectly being paid by a sports book within the next 5 years. That's just the way that the media is going. That's just where all the money is coming in.
Those media companies are definitely seeing where the money is coming from. The pockets of the young and curious generation looking to get into the sports gambling world.
And I think another kind of stimulus for the growth of sports betting over the last 2 or 3 years is big networks buying into it as well, understanding that this new age of sports fan, your 20-something, your ravenous, crazy sports fan is interested in this kind of thing. It's new, it's interesting, it kind of tests your knowledge. And I think these networks understand that. And they're starting to buy into that kind of content as well, stuff that is very betting centric, discussing not just the games, but the lines that come with the games, the totals, the props, everything. I think it's been this kind of unanimous acceptance of sports betting and welcoming it into the sphere of sports discussion, whereas as recently as 5 years ago, that wasn't the case at all.
Although more popular and socially acceptable, that demographic and really anyone who is involved in sports gambling may not know all the risks involved and what problems it could lead to.
The reality is a lot of people don't understand that gambling in itself can come with risks, the way taking that sip of alcohol comes with risks, right? Or taking that puff of a cigarette. All of those things are known to be addictive. But how many young individuals or even older individuals understand that gambling can actually become an addiction too? It wasn't until 2013, the DSM-5, that actually identified gambling addiction for a true addiction that it is. So for many in the US, there's a lack of appreciation and understanding that this is a serious thing that can come with consequences for some. And so we worry that with this mass proliferation of gambling and a lack of education around the products, that more individuals will find themselves in trouble. And The US has a very fractured approach to gambling addiction right now, leaving the population at large in a very vulnerable state that could come with some significant and dire consequences.
All in all, sports gambling in the country has grown from the original horse racing to being able to do it wherever and on whatever you want. The issues laid out with legalization, ethical issues, and addiction have to still be solved, but the industry will continue to expand. Reporting, John Surratt.